What struck you about the diaries?
I felt like an invader reading these things, but at the same time couldn't pull myself away. And I guess on a personal level, the fact that she went through such a turnaround with her sexuality as well, publicly too. Obviously the public side of it was more or less towards the end of her life, not so much when she was at the height of her fame and the height of her productivity and everything. But I guess I could see this pain coming out in her diaries that I also felt with my own sort of, struggles with identity and struggles with sexuality or sexual identity, and knowing how to, or whether to make that topic apparent in my writing or not.
Interesting, very interesting. I'm fascinated by what seems to be a strand, a really strong strand in your art of this idea of the forest. And am I wrong in noticing that that's a thing? And if I'm not, what's it all about?
It really stems from childhood. It stems from this quite a common obsession that maybe a lot of children have of always, if they're trying to visualize this sense of home, they might draw this little square with the triangle and a little pitched roof chimney, the little path and the picket fence sort of picture of home. But for me, when I was a child, I was always drawing that with the forest around it, and it extended into my brother and sister and I were sort of writing this little book together. I think we called it something like Our Place, and it was just this repetitive obsession that we had over the years of our childhood, where we would sit in this literally a little wooden house that our father built us in the backyard amongst all the trees, and we would sit there and my sister would draw and I would write about what this perfect place was that we wanted in our future. And it was always about this house and the forest and these horses we would have, and like just these childhood dreams of some kind of utopia. Always this house in the forest. And I guess, I sort of, that obsession just, like most childhood obsessions, went into the background for many years. But then when I started writing this novel, I just couldn't get it out of my head, and I literally started writing the novel in a wooden house in a forest in Finland, and was just flooded by this, this feeling of, or this want for utopia again, like this house in the forest where everything's perfect, and all of the traditions and rituals that we create within these four walls. And I think in the novel, this idea of utopia is so much to do with repetition and ritual, and how even if there might be only 2 or 3 of us in this isolated place, that we somehow create this this rich culture, this rich set of traditions amongst us. And I guess that this sort of proverbial space just keeps popping up, like it was in the novel. To a lesser extent, it was in the films I've made before. I was just writing an outline for a new novel, and this space is still in my mind. And I feel like it's maybe something to do with some kind of clash of utopia with this obsession with end times as well. And I think we're sort of living in a culture where the end times is just this constant recurring theme, and maybe this is some form of escapism from that.
It's so interesting. I stumbled across this book a few months ago called Dreamtime concerning the boundary between wilderness and civilization,
Oh,
actually
wow.
by a German author, Hans Peter Durer.
Wow,
And what drew me to it was I was searching for some new way to think about freedom. And I wonder if in the book it's very much kind of focused on medieval religion and kind of illicit rituals that persisted, and the taking of psychoactive drugs, things like that, things that were not socially permitted. So I wonder if for you, when you talk about utopia, it's the same thing I'm thinking of when I say freedom.
Yeah, I think that's something that we tend to make links with in our culture as well, that the wilderness is somehow associated with freedom as well, and just this cliche of getting away from the city and having this freedom from culture, which is impossible, but using the wilderness as this space for freedom. And this cultural element is coming in from the outside and reminding them of who they are, reminding them that this freedom that they have built up in the forest is actually an illusion, and this freedom is somehow impossible.
Very interesting. So, I mean, I guess that's captured here in the title, Little Houses, Big Forests.
Yeah, and I think that's also something to do with the research that the book was based on. A lot of ecology and anthropology has sort of filtered into it, and I think the choice of having the little houses and the rather than big houses, little forests, for example, is this idea of our place in nature, and not living with this assumption of our dominance as a species, but having this humility to think of ourselves or our culture as something that can be dominated by nature, even on a psychological level, and what that means. What that means psychologically to be dominated by nature.
I got it. And there, I think there's also the sense of enough in that statement as well. How do we preserve ourselves in perhaps harsh environment, not kind of over-preserve ourselves? A little house is big enough.
Yeah, there's also this idea that this thread that keeps going throughout the book about being lost and being happy not to hold on to this self-preservation and this idea of building up this armor of culture around you, but to actually allow yourself to be lost in many ways, like whether it is physically in nature or whether it's in any of the other ways that we can be lost, but the sense of luxury in that, like the sense of going back to that idea of freedom, the sense of being free in lostness. And I think that that's something that has given rise to so many invaluable things about thinking.
Neat. Is there anything else you want to say about the book, kind of get out there, get on the record, that I haven't covered?
I guess one really satisfying thing about the book is that it really brings together so many threads from my work in terms of writing, but then also bringing together the visuals that I've been working on in the past as well. So to have both of these worlds in one place.
Actually, I did want to ask you about being a Polaroid photographer, and is that still accurate? Are these Polaroids?
The images that are in here aren't Polaroid. They're actually, there's two layers. So one is from a black and white 16mm film I did a few years ago, and the other layer is 35mm color stills that I shot around Berlin last year.
Who's the woman on the cover? Is that just a random person from Berlin?
It's actually me.
It's you.
Yeah.
Okay. It's
from a few
well
years
disguised.
ago. Yeah, exactly. It's I think of it as myself because it was just from this film, and I think of it as this character. So yeah, even now when I look at it, I don't think of it as me. It's just this other entity from this film.
So the figurative, personal images are from the film, and then the picture of the tree and forest is the 16mm. I mean the
35, yeah.
Yes, got it. Well, great meeting you, Siouxzi, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, sounds brilliant.
All right.
Thanks a lot, John.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.